what would it be to make this work out? Like, all ones in, I think it would be like DST mask might be hex, 8Fs, 32 bits of ones, the least significant 32 bits, and zeros and the most significant 96 bits, perhaps, in order to make this statement make sense or useful to copy. But I don't know. I didn't find any evidence anywhere in the code. It looks like these masks come from the control plane, perhaps, if I remember correctly. And
okay, so this is service tunnel feature, and you want to know if there's a way to like simplify this down to something that can be done in 64 bits. Is that the essence of your question?
Or, are there restrictions on the actual intended uses of these masks such that I can, temporarily in a, if-def version on the side of this, turn these into just, right. I'm assuming, assignments of the v4 address to least significant 32 bits of the dest address, if that's what it's doing.
Right. Right. I don't know if anyone's on this call who can actually answer that. Looks like we don't have the experts associated with this feature. But okay. If I'm wrong, speak up. But what might be helpful is just to file an issue, very specific issue on this, and
see who answers.
Flag probably Marian or whoever, flag them, whoever contributed this code. We'll try to get the discussion going offline anyway.
Yep.
But I your intention, it would be handy if we can at least make a simplifying assumption of some sort.
Yep.
And what would you do? Something like operate on a half size of this address? We haven't broken it up before, right?
I mean, I can create a pull request showing the suggested change, but just to ask whether it's intended to be, whether it would be equivalent or not in behavior. But I have no urgency to want to merge in such a change. I could use that as a form of the way to ask the question precisely.
That's fine too, because that way you can see the delta. It's easy to use Git, right?
Yep.
You can do it. You can do sort of an interrogatory pull request, I guess.
Right? You do a blame on this code, you'll see at least the owner of that code, because I don't know who wrote that.
True. Yep. So I can use that to maybe @ping and GitHub whoever added this code and the issue for the pull request. Thanks. I'll do that.
So is this this is an example of the new code that was added since the last time P4 DPDK was, let's say, enhanced to fix the previous bugs, and then this popped out when you tried it on master again or main?
Yeah, I believe this was something added in the last 6 months.
Yeah,
it has been a while since the last round of code I was trying to get working.
Got it. Okay. Well, no, thanks for bringing it up. Okay. Good. So you'll file something. Just make a note. By the way, Christina responded to my request. She off camera started the recording on this, so it's all permanent part of the record. Okay, so does anyone else have any topics they want to bring up? I know there's a lot of ongoing conversations, and I saw some activity yesterday, and that may or may not spill into today. I couldn't make yesterday.
I got a quick thing, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll just throw it there. I don't know that it's part of this or the other meeting. I just pulled up the latest dash to rebase, and I'm noticing some compile issues with Docker. Like I usually compile with -da on an 80 core x86 machine, and it's fine. But now when I do this, it's complaining about Docker image already being in use. So I'm thinking that there is this dependency missing somewhere. It was kind of serialized before, I suppose, but not anymore. So I don't know if Kamil compile. He made a lot of changes in makefiles and whatnot. So I wonder what he tried as far as compiling with the most parallel CPUs, I suppose.
Well, I'm not sure why this matter on what kind of CPU you have. It sounds like you have a Docker image already running. I mean, did you do Docker PS to see? Maybe you didn't do make kill all. You have a
yeah, and there's nothing there, so it's really a problem. When I'm compiling, I got 0 Docker image running. When I'm compiling, there are 2 processes that run in parallel now. Didn't used to, I suppose, and that's all in the in the dash pipeline compile, right? In the make of that, that now are conflicting. I just did pull the rebase, so I don't have any information on that, but just a side note there.
Yeah, if you can file an issue and tag myself and Kamil, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I have 2 days. I'm moving on PTO for 2 weeks, so I just wanted to mention that. I'll open an issue and see what I can find in the next 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for raising that. I did, because Kamil made some substantial changes, which if you ignore this problem for a moment, it's resulted in much faster build times overall. Like he's really done some good work. But if there's some side effects, we'll have to address them.
It's faster. It could be now that the race condition was already there, but we didn't hit it. But now it's faster. So
that's
possible.
an interesting thought. I don't know anything that would cause parallelism issues.
I'll open an issue and try to investigate for the next 2 days, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, and paste some of the console output that shows the, declaring the error. I'd like to see that.
Will do.
Docker. I'm just making some notes. Okay. Sounds like we're collecting some good stuff today. Does anyone else have anything to raise? I'll bring up some other topics that are ongoing.
Hey, hi Chris. This is BJ. Hey.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, good. So I had just one thing. There is an issue 441. I think Vincent had raised that. I have responded to it. So I think if it looks good, we can close it.
Okay, let me bring that up. 441. Oh. Yeah, okay, let me share my screen. I was just looking at that too, trying to catch up. I'm a little behind on my ongoing. So this is the issue. It's site API meter flags, not mandatory meter class.
Yeah.
And DJ opened it, and let's see. No, Vincent opened it, and VJ responded. So, Vincent, are you okay with this response? Is this still an open issue for you?
Yeah, I have to go back to it, but it should be fine to close it. I think so.
Do you want to have you want to hold off on me closing it here, and you take a look, and if you're happy with it, close it, so you don't have to do it under time pressure here? How do you
Yeah,
feel
I'll do that. I can close the issue. So I'll look at it this afternoon, VJ.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
But kind of related to that, and I know it's not P4 related here, but the side changes for the mandatory and all that, that's going to eventually cause, if a libsci is following the side for ACL, for instance, that's going to cause maybe some test case to fail. So I'll probably go through that rewrite, and maybe I'll push an update to Dash to align a couple of things there.
Okay. Now you're going to address this in a couple of weeks. Sounds like you're ready to go. Okay. Yeah. So let me just make a note about that too. So maybe some collaterals in the side test cases.
Yeah, I think so. I'll get there when I get there, but I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, hi, Marian. I didn't know you were here. Must have just joined. Thanks for joining us. So actually, Marian, since you're here, I might want to ask a few questions that are open here. People have questions. This one in particular, you might be able to give a good answer. It's been being bandied about for a while. And, you know, Kamil joined us more recently in this project, and he was puzzled by the 5 ACL tables and objects being created for ACL rules. And he's not here, so yeah, I don't think. Let me double check. Yeah,
I haven't seen this issue, but the description is right. Looks like a bug.
it looks like a bug.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
I
you're
see.
not supposed to return more than or create more than one object.
Okay, so you were answering. Now, I thought maybe you had created this code way back when. Am I misunderstanding? Did someone else create this?
No, I think it was me. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the disposition then of this issue? Do you think it's been asked and answered, Marian, or do you need some more time to look at this? Or do you think
No,
it's
I haven't looked at it before. I need to read through the entire description.
okay?
I don't know how it's even possible to return more than one object. It seems weird because API signature won't even allow that, but maybe I don't understand something.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate your help on this. I just pinged you in the issue, so have a little reminder. Okay. So moving along, I wanted to ask, Saad, you've been working on a Python-based behavioral model. Do you want to update the team about that?
Hello, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Saad.
Hello. Yeah, so so the functionality was complete, and the only thing missing was integration, and I've been working on it for last few weekends, and I'm almost there. So the Python model, so basically there are 3 attach points that I need to. So one is that I need to create weeds, which is pretty easy. The second thing is I need to auto-generate the exact same Psi API and implementation from the Python model. That part is also done. So what I did was I took the p4info file that was generated by the original p4 model, and I generated that extracted exact same information from the Python model, and then I fed that, then my, let's say, p4info file into the script. I did not make any changes in the script, and it was generating the exact same Psi headers and implementation. So the only thing left to do is to change the implementation such that instead of calling p4rt APIs, it will basically call the Python model. So for that, I have made a C++ interface such that you can remotely invoke some of the CRUD. So I made a few CRUD functions like add a new entry, insert, get, set, etc. And I made a C++ interface to do them remotely. Internally, it uses protobuf to serialize and deserialize, and that is also working. So right now, the only thing left to do is to. So right now, I'm changing those the libsi implementation Jinja files such that instead of calling p4rt, it is using my, let's say, Python API.
So
hopefully summarize, it will start working. I also wrote a stateful test. So I think it will be ready by next week. I will work this weekend. Most likely it will be ready by next week.
That's very interesting. So just to summarize for people who may be new to this long-lived discussion, he's got a pull request here. It's been up for a while. It's kind of a draft. And he's created a from scratch Python behavior model that mimics all the functionality of the P4 behavior model. And it's purpose is to be a drop-in replacement that has a libsci that can be, I guess you're going to link it to the Sci3 server also. So it's really a drop-in replacement for the existing behavior model. And all the interfaces will be obeyed at the libsci level and at the veth level for traffic. And he's working on some schemes to, implement all the internals for that. He's discarding the current P4 runtime approach that's used for BMB2 and coming up with his own. And as long as it's a black box that has the same interfaces, that's fine. So it'll be interesting to see how far he can take this. It's written directly in Python. It will be a little more easy to play with, let's say, than some of the limitations of a pure P4 based approach. So I think it's a kind of fascinating experiment, see how far it goes. Does anyone have any questions for Saad about this one? It's a pretty interesting project.
Yeah, so just I want to correct one thing, please. Hello?
Sorry, not a question, but cool to see the effort being put in and hope to see it working.
Yeah, sure.
So I imagine it would be treated as a parallel model, just like the P4 DPDK is, kind of a experiment in progress. And if it can pass test cases, I don't see any reason to not support its growth and evolution as nothing else, an interesting experiment. And it proves out to have a lot of merit. People can work with it. It's once it's built and working and Saad's done all the hard work, if it runs in the pipeline and passes test, I'm not going to complain. It's free cycles on Azure Cloud to run the tests. And then we have an interesting, another interesting model.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add one thing. Earlier, you said that I actually did not write anything from scratch. I translated the existing model almost word to word. Secondly, yeah, that is the intention, such that no test have to be rewritten. The intention is for it to seamlessly fit into the test framework. Hopefully, you will not need to make any changes anywhere.
Well, you call it not writing it from scratch, but if it's brand new Python code that follows the exact flavor, I still call it typing from scratch, right?
Yeah, you can say that. So I just want to say that the existing effort has been preserved in this. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I understand. I know you're being humble, but it's a lot of work, and I'm impressed that you got this far. Okay, so let me just pop through issues and see if there's anything that floats to the top for the purpose of this group's time. Any other topics anyone wants to raise at this time? So as far as issues, we have this one that Marian agreed to take another look at. Now, this one was discussed yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, right, Vincent? I saw the discussion thread on that.
Yeah, that's correct. I should be able to close it actually.
Okay, yeah, I think in summary, yeah, they're all mandatory, but you can use zero mask to make them effectively don't cares, right? Not necessarily efficient, but based on some of the implementation, say, restrictions of this model. And then this one here, I believe, Marian, you were also cited in here to try to help on this. And there's some code issues. I'm wondering if you've had a chance to look at this one, Marian, issue 415.
Yeah, but this is these warnings are not wrong behavior. It's just not the best way to do casting. So for now, I'm not fixing that, as I have outstanding pull requests that I'm working on. So for now, it's on hold.
You think it would be fairly straightforward just to put a better cast in there? Is it just a syntax thing that needs to be tweaked?
I don't know if it would be easy to change, but for now the behavior is not broken, I would say.
Okay. All right. Just making one here. Okay. Thanks for commenting on that. Marching through. So, Andy, you kind of touched on that P4DPDK by virtue of bringing up that latest issue that kind of indicates, it's work in progress and more issues have been uncovered, and you'll pass them up, right?
I'll continue testing fixes and against latest -P4 and file issues as they come up.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's one. And hopefully, Marian, you can actually help us on this. There's some code. So Fabian Ruffy, in running P4 test gen, found a case that so Andy took some code that had this complex expression. Sorry, get this, and he kind of broke it up into sub expressions in order to fit the P4DPDK backend limitations. And this particular code path never gets taken because the code that calls this code guarantees that this is never valid. So this is NVGRE.
What's the function name?
This is NVGRE NCAP. Did you work on this code?
Yeah, but I don't understand why IPv6 cannot be inner.
No, IPv4.
Oh,
inner.
Okay, then I don't understand why IPv4 cannot be inner in NVGRE NCAP.
Okay, and that's the subject of this. He said NVRE NCAP is only called when route service tunnel was previously executed, and that always invalid. So do you have a comment here on how we can resolve this? Because it's an interesting find, right? We have a dead code path that's either an error or.
I wouldn't say it's a dead code. The NVGRE NCAP is a generic function that would encapsulate any IP family. It's just not used for inner v4 right now.
Okay, so it's not used now, but it might be in the future. That's kind of the point here.
Yeah, I would say it's agnostic to overlay.
Could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear you.
It is agnostic to overlay IP family.
Yeah. Okay, so the fact that we're setting it invalid here, is this something that's going to be true for all time? This is service tunnel encode.
But that's service tunnel. So service tunnel is actually v4 to v6 translation. So right, there are two steps in this flow. First is we know for sure that this is originally v4. We do translation to v6, and after that we do NVGRE NCAP. So in this scenario, kind of you always have overlay v6. But taking NVGRE NCAP alone, or you can compare it with VXLAN NCAP, right? VXLAN NCAP can encapsulate both v4 and v6 headers, and it happens. In this case, it just doesn't happen, or there is no path in the code to having before overlay with NVGRE, but I don't think it's that it's really a dead code. It's just we just don't use it, but yeah, it is. It supports such a case if it will be needed. Like for example, if we would want to for VNet to VNet use NVGRE.
Okay, so stepping back, then I guess the point of this PR was, hey, I ran this test, this code analysis, and I see a dead code path, and that's just true today by circumstance. In the future, it could be not true.
Yeah, technically it's true. I agree, but I think the solution shouldn't be to remove that condition from a function.
Yeah. So Andy, maybe you can weigh in here, but I think Fabian's goal was, hey, I want to actually run the dash code as a CI/CD test case for my P4 test gen. I want to, because it's a really good real world test of some interesting cases. And he was saying, are you guys going to fix this dead code before I add it to the test suite? And maybe the correct answer is no, it's still a good test case. Today it looks like dead code, but that's only circumstantial. It may not be dead code tomorrow.
Right.
And how he wants to deal with that is up to him, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I suspect I can ask him, but I suspect he passed on this issue just in case, we were unaware.
Yeah. And he's pinged us and, he's been very good about helping us, understand this issue. But given that there's been presentations on P4 test gen, I think at SIGCOM or somewhere recently, I think he's, kind of elevating P4 test gen visibility. So I wanted to kind of get closure on this. So I think I'll summarize this conversation in the issue and close it, and just say, yeah, it is dead today, but tomorrow it might not be. How you want to handle that in your use of this as a test case is your call.
Yep. And thanks for the report. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
I mean, it's great that
good catch. It believes the P4 test gen is not erroneously reporting this. It looks correctly reporting this today.
Yeah.
No, it's actually excellent. Actually shed some light on something sort of buried, that we wouldn't necessarily know. Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, basically I copied the VXLAN NCAP to NVGRE NCAP and only changed the NVGRE part. So yeah.
Awesome. Hey, getting some things done.
Sorry, I need to drop now. So if you have anything else, maybe please leave a message in the chat.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You helped close some issues. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
And by the way, just so people know, this topic here, Kamil's been working on it. He's actually been refactoring the Psi thrift server in the Psi repo to separately compile the Psi meta into a libpsi meta, and that way we won't have to have it in the vendor libpsi. So Vincent, you raising this issue originally has resulted in quite a bit of action. And if you're interested in what he's doing, just go over to the Psi repo. You can see pull requests and whatnot going on. So just to let people know, Kamil Kudnik's been from Microsoft's been doing a lot of refactoring of Psi and Dash with the end goal of having virtualized Dash completely linked into Sonic and SyncD. So it's a good effort, and he's finding all kinds of impedance match issues and rectifying them. He's an expert in this, so it's very helpful. Kind of lifted the quality of this Dash project up quite a bit. I don't think there's any pending pull requests that are related to this effort that we need to talk about. Ashutosh, I was actually looking at this morning. Is there anything here that do you need to nudge people to work on this to review it. I'll confess I haven't really taken a deep look at it, but maybe you could update us on this one if this is like on your plate and something you wish to move forward.
Yeah, sure. I think we're waiting for the community to review it, especially Vijay and the team which implemented the metering functionality. So
does this run in the behavioral model, or is this only for hardware devices at this point?
I think at this point it's just for the hardware devices, but we can try running it on the behavioral model also.
Checks. So
yeah, there was an older PR open which was not compiling or not passing some of the tests because of arg was passed incorrectly, and I fixed it.
Okay.
So it's passing on the test today, at least the existing ones. Yeah.
So these new tests, you're skipping if it's BMB2.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the only way to really verify this, because CI/CD is not going to actually run on these new test cases, it's sort of take it on faith, that they're good cases. We can visually inspect it, but there's no way for the team to verify it. But are you claiming that these run on your hardware and that they pass?
Yeah, we have run these on hardware. So,
okay.
But I have to probably check with the team again just to get the current status. But at some point they were running this test when they were written.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, it puts us in a bit of a quandary because the behavioral model is really not quite complete. And so it's not easy to vet. We sort of go on our system. Yep, they pass. And someday other people will be able to try them. But there is the option for other vendors to try these on their implementation. And, I'll just, there's people on this call who have implementations that they could run it against. And if they have an opportunity to try these test cases in their setup, that would be very helpful to then, approve the test case. I mean, approve the PR if they want to weigh in and volunteer their time to do that. And it probably wouldn't be a bad thing, because then they get someone else has written a test case and they can try it on their own implementation. It's a good cross check. So does anyone here want to make a comment on that?
So that should be integrated into the usual infrastructure, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another test case,
right?
Right, and
I suppose running the side challenger. I didn't see it. No, actually PTF. Okay,
yeah. So thanks for speaking up. Vincent, if you want to give these a shot and say, yeah, these test cases look good. You don't necessarily have to tell us if it works on your hardware, but if you agree that the test cases are sound, then we can get someone. Because if I read through it, I'll just be nodding my head and saying, yep, it looks like good Python code, but it won't prove anything, right?
No, I can. Yeah, I'll check those. Because typically, once they get merged, I basically rebase and pick it up, and that's part of a regression that I have anyway.
Yeah, if you want to pull this branch and give it a sneak preview, that would be super helpful. If anyone else from another vendor wants to do the same, it would be great, and then you get the benefit from Ashutosh's contribution. Okay, good. Alrighty, I didn't have anything else I wanted to bring up, so I'll do a final call. Are there any other topics or issues people want to discuss before we wrap things up today? Okay, then why don't we call this a wrap? It's been real productive, and thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at the next meeting. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris.